catch me, I'm ballin'. Catch me like Spalding, catch me like Spalding's. If he indeed the MC, vitamin like GNC. Can't see me like B.I.G. on CNT. Did a little bit of time on BMG. But this right here, homie, this on me. Can you be down? No, CMB, that's cold, that ain't nice, G. So what though? Lil' homie remind me of Ice-T. By the way, we share the same birthday. The wordplay is work, but f***ing is easy. So catch me, I'm ballin'. I'm sick too if you ain't catch me like coughing. Back when I said you should catch me like Spalding. It's cool, cause most cats that I bump into can't catch me that often. Most times I just end up falling. Ball for a few, then end up.
Hello everybody, my name is Steven Hughes. You might know me as the host of Steven's All Out Baseball Show, but since I'm starting this show out, since baseball season is getting closer and closer to an end, I'm going to start my edition of Steven's Weekly Hoops. Today is September 11th. It's 11 years to the day. This is the 11th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, the terrorist attacks that happened, that was aimed at the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the White House. And at this time, I'd like to have a moment of silence for the ones who lost their lives in this horrific event. Thanks, guys. It really means a lot. The 9/11 attacks. I have family in New York, and it's tough to hear about all the things they had to go through at the time. And my hearts and hopefully your hearts and prayers go out to the families as they condole again on this horrific tragedy that happened on September 11th, 2001. So, actually, this is my first show, so let's get a little bit happier now. We'll have Sam Rosen, the host of the Sam Situation. He's on the phone right now, and for the first part of Weekly Hoops, so this is how the show's going to work. Half the show is going to be on NCAA basketball, and half the show is going to be on some NBA work. And Sam, are you on the phone?
Yep, how's it going?
All right, Sam. I just want to know if you're on. Sam, welcome to the show, to the first edition of Siemens Weekly Hoops.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thanks, Sam. So first topic I'd like to talk to you about in this new series, Siemens Weekly Hoops, the city of Seattle has agreed on building a new arena in Seattle. Obviously, the Supersonics, now called the Oklahoma City Thunder, moved to Oklahoma City back in 2008. So, Sam, is this a big thing for the city of Seattle? Does this alert the NBA? Hey, maybe Seattle has an opportunity, has an open slot to get back an NBA team?
Oh, I'd be extremely excited for Seattle in this case. This is a huge NBA market. The owner of Seattle he's still a little strange. The owner is still from Oklahoma City. He moved this team when he promised repeatedly he would not move. Now the Thunder. This is just a loving fan base. I personally have watched an hour documentary on the city of Seattle on one of my favorite websites, like Grantland.com. It's a YouTube video, but I watched it on there. It basically explained to me just in detail how much the city loves its basketball. It was a great basketball town to begin with. It still is. They've wanted a team for years, ever since the Seattle Supersonics became the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I would love to see them get a team. On the business side for the NBA, I think it's a great move. I think this is a great basketball town, like I said. So I think it's a win-win situation in all ways.
And it also says that the $490 million arena that was proposed could also host an NHL team. So what this, like you said, the business-wise, it will be a big boost for Seattle. Plus the fact that it can hold an NHL team. Is Seattle really taking this risk seriously, or do you think that this plan is going to fail, like Sacramento tried to do, trying to make a deal earlier this year.
Oh, I don't think it's going to fail. I've rarely seen a city as dedicated to a sport as Seattle is. They do have the Seattle Seahawks. They do have the Seattle Mariners. But the one thing Seattle fans love, and I know this for a fact, is they love their basketball. I think the government over there in Seattle is going to pull this one through. I think this is pretty much a done deal. If they say they're going to build it, they're going to build it just because I think they love basketball so much. How it'll appease the city, the people of the city. It'll appease the NBA. It's like I said, a win-win situation.
I like the fact that Seattle the arena can host an NHL team. That'll be big. It kind of will be like a Staples Center where the Staples Center hosts the Lakers and the Clippers, and then it hosts the Kings. And then for Seattle, they can bring back an NBA team, and then they could create an NHL team. That'll be a big boost in the city in the city of Seattle's revenues. The fan base is just awesome in Seattle. Exclude the fact of the Mariners; they're just not as good of a team. Think about the Seahawks. Look at their fan base. Look at the Seattle Sounders. They have one of the best fan bases I've ever seen. Like for any sport, it's really committed in soccer, and it's in Seattle. So this would be great for the city of Seattle. Just get more sports after losing the Supersonics, not having an NHL team. I totally agree with you. This would really make Seattle one of the bigger markets out there. You can compare if this really goes out and they get an NHL team, then they get an NBA team. They can be compared as a high market city like Los Angeles, like New York, because they have all those sports. So this is really big for Seattle and the Northwest region. So let's go to another topic. And let's talk about LeBron James and Kevin Durant. They're training together in Akron, Ohio, and it's called Hell Week 2. So they're going through some intense training in LeBron James's hometown of Akron, Ohio. It says last year the two dubbed the process Hell Week and credited it with helping them start on a path to facing each other in last June's final. So is this a good thing, Sam, to have uh, the MVP for both the finals and the regular season, and one of the best players? So two of the best players in the NBA train together. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Or it doesn't really matter? It's not going to really affect their relationship, and it doesn't really affect what the fans think in Miami and Oklahoma City.
Well, if this thing's really for real, I think it's a great thing for the NBA personally. I think it's great for the players as well. As far as the NBA, I think it is a huge publicity boom for them. You look at two guys training together of that caliber, it's huge. And then really just for themselves, two players training like that, if they're really going at it like they say they are, I can't find much harm in that getting better. It scares me a little that a guy like LeBron is training with Kevin Durant. Both have attributes they can really help each other with, and that would be very, very scary if either of them got any better right now. One thing I'd actually like to point out, I think is a little funny, is that they do train in LeBron's hometown. To me, that kind of just points out LeBron's alpha dog status in the NBA. Durant is one of the top players in the NBA, don't get me wrong, but the fact that this is the second year, and this is the second year they've trained in Akron, Ohio, that really just speaks to me that this is basically his NBA, and people do what he says.
And yeah, just I agree with you with the publicity stunt, the boom. Getting these two guys, like it's not the NBA is not forcing it. It's their choice to have both of them train together. And then I agree also with what you said about LeBron being the alpha male. LeBron hosting this in his hometown, and I think it's just really good for the NBA to get. We're not really that close to the NBA season. We still got a month or two, or 2.5 months, something like that. But I think this is big because I think LeBron James, Kevin Durant, they did this last year. So if they're doing this again, we're gonna have a rematch of the finals from last year. So I think this is very big from both of them, and I think that if they keep on doing this, they're just going to be the two top players that ever play the game. Never trained together in that way too. And one more topic before we get to predictions for the regular season around the NBA. Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, the loudmouth owner that really tries to put his face in all posters, Dallas Mavericks. He's just counting the Lakers and the Nets move. So he's saying, quote, the moves that the Nets and the Lakers made during the offseason doesn't mean that they can win games or not. So, Sam, do you think that Mark Hughes is making a pretty honest and maybe support maybe influencing statement about that, or is he just going off at the mouth again?
Mark Cuban's making a classic Mark Cuban comment. He's really great at these. I actually appreciate what he does. He's not like extremely disrespectful about how he goes about it, but he is pretty loudmouth. This pumps up his team. But you look at the rosters, there is really no comparison between really either one of these teams. The Mavericks have really fallen. They're starting a guy in Chris Kaman who's oft injured and really struggles at times, while the Lakers start Dwight Howard. And the Nets start Brook Lopez, another really talented center, one of the best in the NBA. Then you look at pretty much every other position. Both teams really have them just beat. Obviously, with Dirk Nowitzki, he's the best power forward out of either of these teams. But, I mean, you got to look at this and can be better than them.
So Cuban actually had an example about the Lakers in 2003 and 2004. He said, quote, the Lakers have done this before. And he's referring to the Lakers getting Steve Nash and Dwight Howard during the offseason. The Lakers have done this before. Gary Payton and Karl Malone and Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal were all together and it didn't work. Cuban, he said this yesterday. He's referring to the 2003-2004 Lakers who would lose to the Pistons in the finals, and then before the season started, the team was putting media stuff out there about the team and how great they're going to be, and then the season ticket holders, they're influencing, then they buy them because they're going to be magical. Do you think Cuba is making a statement? He has a good example right there. Do you think that's credible? Do you think that really would really get the reader of what Cuban's saying, or the listener, to really say, I think this might happen again if Nash and Howard don't really work out?
Oh, this is completely different than the whole Gary Payton, Karl Malone situation. Gary Payton and Karl Malone were definitely on the tail ends of their careers. Both would retire very, very, very shortly after signing with the Lakers. You look at this team, they went out and got a fairly young person in Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard is much more dominant than either one of those two players they signed during the 2003-2004 season. And then Steve Nash. Steve Nash is much different than Gary Payton, and he's never been a real dominant defensive force in a game. He's much more of a finesse passing type player, one of the best ever at what he does, much more of a John Stockton type player. So he's able to take his game into his later years at a much higher level than the glove ever really was. Then you look at this team that has much better depth than that old Lakers team did. It has Antoine Jameson backing up Pau Gasol at the power forward spot. Jameson, a very, very talented player, coming off one of his most efficient seasons of his career, which is huge with him, because he's never really been that efficient of a player, but he's actually, in my opinion, almost starting to get better. Devin Ebanks should improve. Jonas Hill looked good towards the end of the season. They have much better point guard depth with Chris Duhon than they did last year. So, in my opinion, the Lakers this year are a better team than a team that went to the finals in 2003 and 2004. So that, in my opinion, just speaks measures.
Well, that's wow. You really blew my mind right there about everything right there. That was really amazing. Just the fact that the Lakers, even though they have all this money, doesn't really translate into winning a championship. Look at the Heat 2 years ago. The first year of the big three with Bosh, Wade, and LeBron.